week, so it was a busy one for me. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, last week I posted a vlog on doing shows and touring, and I'll try to link it up here somewhere for you, so you can check that out if you haven't. But you know, I was really appreciative that many of you guys really got the gist of what I was trying to say, but I did get a few messages, some private messages from people who kind of didn't either understand or who thought that perhaps I might have taken a sort of negative viewpoint towards the whole thing. And you know, there was some things that I thought really I didn't kind of necessarily have to touch on that would just be a given, but obviously I need to sort of explain things a bit more, and so I wanted to take a bit of time to do that. So one thing I just want to clarify is that, as many of you know, I'm Natalie Brown. I'm a solo artist. I'm not Natalie Brown in the Fab Four. I'm not in a band. So what that means is that when I want to go out and do a show or go on the road, I actually have to hire musicians to be in my band. And when you do that, you have to ensure that you pay these musicians. You know, they're taking 2 to 3 weeks off at a time, and that means they can't do their day job or any of their side music gigs that they do, or their other full-time music gig. If I was in a group, for example, like a 4-piece rock band or a jazz band or a cover band or a funk group, everyone who's in that band would have a vested interest in making sure the shows happen and, you know, sleeping on couches, potentially doing shows for free. You know, everyone would work towards the greater good of making things happen for the band. I can't and I won't, you know, ask people to come and play for free and sleep on couches or in a van and, you know, or in a campground, you know, despite the whole even gender mixing issues that are there that are related to that, you know, whereas, you know, some kind of a 4-piece band or whatever, they're willing to do that and come home, you know, broke or whatever, because they're all in it together, they're working towards the same end result. Because of my sound, I need a larger band. Even a stripped down version, like interpretation of what I'm trying to do, it still requires 5 people. And those people need to, you know, eat, sleep, shower, be fed, etc., etc. And ultimately, once again, they all have to get paid. Another thing that I'm finding and encountering is that there's really not a lot of like organizations or networks or groups that are very supportive of commercial sounding independent music like what I do. These kind of people expect us to be on the radio and having mass media exposure, which of course we can't get because we're still independent, even though like someone like me sounds commercial. The same sort of thing applies to venues. They really don't expect to hear my kind of sound. When you think about it, you know, you think about an average city and you walk down the street and you'll see like a, you know, a big club and they've got some big rock or metal band in there, or some funk band, or even there's like jazz clubs. Then you go to the pub and they've got some kind of stripped down lo-fi indie rock, or they have some blues playing. You go to your cafe or to the bookstore and they've got a singer-songwriter thing going on. So these venues are not expecting, you know, independent commercial sounding music like the type of stuff that I put out. So other styles of music, they have sort of alternative venues that an act like me would not be invited to play, or I couldn't really play. For example, other acts could play art galleries, they could do house tours, like house concerts, living room concerts, they could do parking lots, they get, you know, there's tons of festivals and all kinds of these sort of alternative venues that they can go ahead and play at. So a lot of times what I have to do in order to go ahead and do shows is that I actually have to go ahead and be my own promoter. And what that means is that I have to actually book the venue myself, just like it's going to be a private event. No one is necessarily going to book my act, so I have to proactively go out and make it happen myself. So overall, it's a lot more expensive and complex for someone doing my kind of music to get out there on the road. You know, we have to go ahead and factor in everything that needs to be paid in advance. For example, the band, right? You hire them, but many times they're going to want a deposit. They don't want to get out there, you know, a week into the tour and you're like, I can't pay you. So they want a deposit to know in good faith that you're going to pay them for the work that they're doing. Then you have to factor in things like travel. So if we're going by plane, you know, plane tickets need to be bought. If we're hiring a tour bus needs to be paid for. A van needs to be paid for. Then when you get out there on the road, there's things like the lodging, hotels, and meals, and all that kind of stuff, any incidentals that come up. You know, and what I'm doing is I'm having to prepay a lot of this in hopes that before I even get out on the road, thinking, you know, am I going to be able to afford this and pay it all back? So, you know, it is a bit more complex than perhaps some other acts, you know, going out on the road, their process is. So basically, when I'm thinking about putting some shows together, doing a tour, I have to anticipate what my fixed costs are, and then I also have to gauge how many people I think are going to be able to come out to that show in order to figure if I'm going to have enough money from ticket sales, merch sales, CD sales, in order to make sure that all of those costs are covered for those shows or the tour. So to wrap up, I just want you guys to know that I'm working really hard at building the fan base. What I had found was I had an old mailing list with sort of outdated technology, and I switched over a few months back to a new one that revealed to me that there's fans just scattered all over the world. And what I'm realizing is that I need to make sure that I build the base and see where the clusters of people are, so that I can make sure I get out to where you are and that there are enough people there to justify bringing the show out on the road. So I really hope to see you out there, and thanks for just taking another chance to listen to this. I've noticed that when you're driving around, and someone does something kind of funky or dangerous in traffic, and someone beep beep blares their horn. It's really interesting because it's like I always thought that a horn was an early advance warning notice to not do something, not, a you're an idiot honk honk punishment type of deal. So I was just wondering, are you the kind of person who uses your horn to warn, or are you the kind of person that uses your horn to punish? Leave your comments below, I want to know.
That's all for today.